What's up, gang? 161 Mafia. What's going on? What do we got? What do we got? We got the franchise. Shout out to franchise for starting his own thing now. Much props to you, man. Much props to you, bro. Be patient and it'll happen, man. Got a nice topic I want to bring up. Kyle, what's up? Daily Dose. What's happening? And the offseason has started. I'll go over that. But before I go over that, give me your topic, Kyle. See what we got here. Who else do we have on Kyle Daily? Tyler, what's happening, man? Thomas, what is good? Yeah, lots of love for the Braves winning, man. That's a hell of a World Series. It was a much better World Series than I thought it was going to be. It really did. Jared, what's good, man? How you guys doing? Just hit us with it, Kyle. Hit us with it before I'll go over a couple things. Obviously, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves, 2021 World Series champions, beating the Astros in 6 games. I mean, you know, and already a couple of things. I got a few things I got to tell you. All right. I mean, Tucker Barnhart traded to the Detroit Tigers today. Yeah, exactly, Thomas. Time for the Yankees to get busy. Tucker Barnhart, who was mentioned by quite a few folks as a potential trade candidate to replace Gary Sanchez, was traded to the friggin' Tigers today. All right, I'll give you a minute, Kyle. No, all good, man. All good. So, and Buster Posey, I don't know if you saw my video, he announced his retirement. Well, he's going to be announcing his retirement tomorrow, but it was confirmed today, reported. So that leaves, it wide open for Joey Bart to take over as starting catcher. His 12-year career. He's gonna go into the Hall of Fame as one of the better catchers of all time. He's 34 years old. He's retiring young. But yeah, Jared, I put out a video about Buster Posey retiring, and I put it out earlier this evening. As soon as the news broke, I put it out. So that's what I'll be doing. Like anytime something significant breaks, and if I'm around, I can put out a video. I'm gonna put it out right away so that you guys know. So. And that way, I want you to be some of the first people to know what's going on. So, yeah, he is, man. He is a legendary catcher. He's going to go down, again, as one of the all-time greats. And he's retiring young, so he's going out on top. I mean, it's a shame he didn't go out with a championship, but he's got 3 already. Oh, my Yankee cup, by the way. Just rocking it, man. Rocking it. By the way, somebody, it was Jesus, my man, the King Chavez mentioned today. 161 Mafia. That's who we are, man. We're the 161 Mafia. That was one of the greatest lines ever. That's us, man. That's us, dude. Yeah, it did kind of wreak havoc with the fantasy list. I'm not sure. Maybe he just wanted to. He sat out most of 2020 because he was recovering from major surgery. So maybe he was feeling beat up again. Maybe just didn't want to go on a sharp decline and become a shell of himself, and maybe he just wanted to, pass off the torch to Joey Bart, who's waiting in the wings, man. Dude, Kyle, thank you for the donor, man. Much love, Kyle. Donor love and donor hype for Kyle, man. Appreciate that. MJ Melendez from the Royals. I actually brought him up too recently in a trade proposal with the Royals. He's a very highly rated. I think he's in the top 40, if I'm not mistaken, or top 50 in MLB overall, top 100 prospects. And he's blocked by Salvador Perez, who's like an outer-worldly catcher right now. It would cost a nice package to get him, but he'd be one of the first guys, he'd be one of the first guys I would go after. And that's why so many of my trade proposals involve high-end, like elite catching prospects, like MJ, like Barton, some of these other guys, because there is no obvious replacement for Gary Sanchez. None. Up in the high levels of the system. So some guy like this would be fantastic. I mentioned Sean Murphy from the A's the other day in a trade proposal that did not include Matt Olson. He'd be a big get. I don't know if he'd be possible, but now with Bob Melvin leaving to San Diego, it sounds as if they might be doing a little bit more house cleaning than we thought. So, but Kyle, thank you again for the donor. I appreciate that, man. You're the man. Donor love for you guys, man. Just what's good, man? How you doing? 67th out of 100 on MLB Pipeline. You can get a top prime. Thank you, Daly. And somebody's in the top 100. That's a highly rated prospect. It really is, and there's not many ranked above him in the top 100 list. It's not infiltrated with a lot of catchers. So, Craig, what's going on, man? How you guys doing? So good to see all you guys as always, man. It's good to have you guys on here, man. Yeah, predicting Posey. You never really. That wasn't. I don't I mean, I surely didn't predict him retiring this early either. So I don't know if anybody would have predicted that, but that's the like the fascinating part about baseball too. Some people just go out on top, and he's definitely gone out on top. I mean, he had a great career. He had a great career. Blockbuster with the A's, including Murphy instead of Chapman, is a good idea. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Yankees need Murphy more than they need Chapman. Like first base, you have options. So like even if Rizzo doesn't come back, if they do keep Voit, whatever. But even if they don't, both of them don't come back, you still have DJ who can play first and a credible first baseman. But obviously, Matt Olson is the big prize that people want. But if you can't get any of them, then you at least have DJ you can pluck there, and they can invest more in other areas of the infield and other positions. So we at least have somebody who can credibly fill in the shoes, who isn't a disaster at first base. So, but again, Olson's the big get, and Murphy I would love because again we need to. They're going to be in a huge pickle next year if they keep Gary Sanchez, and I don't think it's a good idea, but then he's going to be a free agent next year. They can have nobody to replace him. Kyle Higashioka is not going to be able to replace him. He'll be older too, and he's just as flawed, but in different ways as Sanchez. Even though he's not lazy and lapses and all this type of stuff, but it- it's just they don't have anybody. They need to. That's why I keep saying in the draft they need to invest. They need to draft somebody in rounds 1 through 5, and then in the following year, draft somebody in rounds 6 through 10. Every single draft, they need to have somebody in the top 10 rounds that's a catcher that actually profiles as a catcher. It's not like somebody like Austin Wells, who's a good looking player, but you have people already saying he's going to profile as this, as that, profiling at different positions. We need guys who are going to profile long term as catchers. We don't have any of them at high levels. We just don't. Be happy with a Marte, Olson, Seager, and Gaussman. That would be a monster all season. Monster. Yeah. Bleacher Report had the Yankees winning the 20. I saw them as the I didn't see that, but I saw them at, I think they're third best odds to win the World Series, which is nuts because they haven't done anything yet. So but I hope that they do, because they're not going to trot out the same roster with the same flaws and expect to get better when these other teams are going to be making moves. They'd be nuts. Jorge Soler, he made himself money. He made himself money. Eddie Rosario made money. Jock Peterson made a little bit of money. I mean, Freddie Freeman made bank this offseason. So a lot. And again, that's what they look at the Braves. I mean, great additions, role player additions, fantastic role. And those are the types of guys that the Yankees had when they were winning World Series. Much better role players who can do a lot of things. So the Yankees have won the year after the Braves. Dude, that's a good point too, franchise. Really good point. You know what? Yeah, 95 and 96. Yeah, look at that, man. Look at that. I hope next year is the year, man. I really do. I really, really do. Oh, somebody likes my thank you, Marcel. Somebody likes my Greg Allen proposal there. I just feel like Greg Allen, he draws like he has an opportunity now. When he had an opportunity this past year, and I'm not talking about what he did 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even though he had some pretty solid numbers, and he has never had an opportunity to play 400 at bats or 500 at bats. But I feel like he'd get on base. He'd have more opportunities to get on base here because they would not want to face the guys behind him. If you put DJ behind him, and then after that you have to face Judge, you have to face Stanton. Like people are going to want to pitch to Allen, and he's not an atrocious hitter. So they're not going to want to pitch to the guys behind them. So, they're not going to intentionally walk this guy. They're going to want to pitch through him, and that's it's going to give him more opportunities to get on base. And when he does, he's going to cause hell. He's going to raise hell on base. So that's why my logic. And then him and DJ right behind him is a good contact hitter. And then you just line them up after that with boppers, bro, boppers. Astros expected to leave Correa to let Correa. Yeah, they have prospect. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to pay him $300 million anyway. Hola, thank you, Ola. Dono from Ola. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you feel. Well, I did see you did see that video. Gave you a little shout out on that video. So Ola made that. She wanted me to do that video with my ideal lineups with a bunch, and I added a bunch of different scenarios. So that was her great idea. So thank you again, Ola. I appreciate that. Braves recipe for Yanks: get a bunch of guys who are playing for. Well, that's a good point too, Danny. That's a good point too. And the guys are just, dude, they're gamers, man. Jock is a gamer. Freddie's a gamer. Like Soler, man, like it's just a stud, man. He was hitting the ball like Stanton, like almost out of the freaking stadium. So, but man, So, and I mean, Christian, I wouldn't be offended with Florial if Florial beats out Allen, fine, as long as he can produce, you know. And again, I just don't have confidence in Aaron Hicks being a long term solution at center field. I just don't. I don't. And yes, don't know hype and don't know love for Ola. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah, Barnhart, man, unbelievable, unbelievable, man. But it's already started. But before, so I'm going over a quick timeline, just so you know. So free agency's begun, but the next 5 days are exclusive windows for teams to negotiate with their current players. Okay, there's no crossing teams one. Like you make trades, but so those November 7th is the deadline for a team to offer qualifying offers, and then players have 10 days in which they can accept or decline. So the 17th is the deadline after that. Okay, the 8th free agency actually officially begins, so teams can negotiate and sign players from other teams. And then also you have the GM meetings going on from the 8th to the 11th, the GM meetings, which is the first kind of batch of winter meetings that the fall meetings leading into the winter meetings. And then the 19th is the deadline to actually add players to the 40-man roster to protect them from the Rule 5 draft. So that's another significant day. And then December 1st, you have the collective bargaining agreement expiring. So hopefully there's not going to be a stoppage. And if there is, I don't see there being a long one because they lost so much revenue during the COVID year. So, but again, who knows, man? When they're haggling over, when rich people are haggling over money, you know, crazier things can happen. December 2nd is the deadline to tender contracts to arbitration eligible players. Okay. The 6th to the 9th of December, those are the winter meetings. And the Rule 5 draft is the 8th, which is the day before the final day of the meetings. It's actually the final day of the meetings. The 9th is generally when the teams leave and the GMs leave. January 14th is the date for the teams and players to exchange arbitration figures. And of January 15th is the start of the international free agent signing period. So those are some of the significant dates moving forward. And just keep in mind, too, with qualifying, if the Yankees are going to sign some of these guys who were offered qualifying offers and turn them down, and let's just say, you know, they sign Correa or they sign whatever. Let's just say they sign one or two of them. They do lose a pick, but in some cases, they lose money towards the international free signing period. So it can affect their ability to sign Roderick Arias, who's the #1 international free agent. So, but it seems like they're the heavy favorite and they're expected to sign him. But I know they're doing this stuff with that in mind, too. So because you can lose international signing money with this stuff, with the qualifying offers and sign that. I know that's one of the things that they're negotiating in the CBA too. So maybe ability to not have that taken away or something like that because it can affect the team's performance. But I just want to give you a little bit of a timeline. Allen might get a chance. Let me scroll back up because I missed a little bit when I was blabbing away here. Sorry about that. You know, Lucastro and Frazier do have options. My personal view on this is they need to clear up several spots. And to me, the most likely guys to be non-tendered, which they would be cleared off the roster, would be Andujar, unfortunately, even though he can be productive, but he's just way too injured too often. If he stays around, I mean, okay, but he's going to have to prove himself to be healthy. But Andujar, Frazier are the two most obvious. I could see them DFAing Gary Sanchez if they bring in a catcher of some degree. That's a third one. And they're going to need to clear a couple more spots. I mean, LeCastro can be moved. Odor can be moved. You know, keep in mind the Rangers are paying everything, all $15 million, but the minimum salary, which is the Yankees are paying $500,000 for Odor. The Rangers are paying like $15 million. So don't be surprised if they DFA him too, and just, you know, because it won't be much of a hit either. So they're going to need to clear about 4 to 5 roster spots to plug in guys to protect from the Rule 5 draft. So I expect a significant amount of activity over the next, you know, several weeks before the deadline to submit the names, because they're going to have to do it in the next two weeks or so. So that's the first batch of activity I see. The Yankees don't make any trades. They're not going. Yeah, I mean, Alan, I agree with you. I mean, Cashman does tend to make his best trades in the offseason, so I'm hoping that he's aggressive. And like I said, you know, on video before, like I would personally, you know, prefer if they made 2 trades for starting pitchers instead of investing that money in free agency and giving $100+ million to Ray or $100 million to Rodon. You know, if they do that, fine. They're the 2 best pitchers on the market, starting pitchers on the market. But you know, again, they're not Greg Maddux, they're not Randy Johnson, they're not Pedro Martinez. So it's important to keep that kind of perspective in mind. If they can get a Luis Castillo, if they can get a Sean Manaea, those 2 guys, I'd be ecstatic if they got both those guys and added them to the rotation. I'd be ecstatic. Ecstatic. So, um, yeah, Christian. I mean, I think Hicks does need to be moved. And again, Florial and Allen, in my opinion, need to get the opportunity in spring training to just battle it out without Hicks in the way. And whoever wins, wins it. Gets the starting spot. The other one can be the fourth outfielder. But in my personal opinion, it's they have to figure out a way to move Hicks. And at this point, like, yeah, he was healthy when he was, when he was productive, when he was healthy and stuff. But he's turned himself into a Hulk, and he's so much bigger now, and he's so much, less mobile, and he's just, not better at. He's worse on the plate. He's worse in the base pass, worse in the field. And I'd rather have a fast elite defender out there who can actually run and do a lot of the little things that Hicks can no longer do. So Luis Castillo from the Reds, yeah, I mean, Anthony, he's one of the guys that I've been wanting in a trade for a while. They turned down a Gleyber Torres, Luis Castillo straight up swap. Cashman said no to it last offseason. So maybe they can revisit that, but I just don't know if he'd want Torres to be part of that package anymore, because it sounds like he wants to keep Torres at second base and hopefully resurrect himself as at 24 with 3 years of control and second clearly being a better position. I could see him staying around. So if they can get Castillo without using Torres, and as long as they're not using like Volpe or some of these other guys, I mean, I could see them moving an Oswald Peraza for him. But again, they have a boatload of guys at shortstop that are elite prospects now, or budding elite prospects. So moving one of those guys is inevitable in a trade, unfortunately. And I just don't think it will. And Roderick Arias is another up the middle infielder. So, but he's got light tower power. They're calling him the next Juan DeFranco. So I mean, I reserve that, myself, because I let him prove himself first, like Juan DeFranco did. But if he came anywhere near Juan DeFranco, that'd be a hell of a get for the Yankees. So, it's that's the thing. So you just got to be careful. Be careful. Yankees must have Cuban players because they're too. Yeah, well, Cuban player Calvin. Yeah, they had a lot of great. I mean, a lot of good Cuban players have come through the Yankees pipeline. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. A lot of them. DFA Nick Nelson. Yep, Nick Nelson. Yep, he's another one. Don't be. There's some guys. Gittins, Brantley, they can DFA. Gittins, well, it depends on what they do at first base. My guess is if somehow they get Matt Olson and they have somebody else backing him up at first base, or somebody that can play multiple positions, I could see them moving on from Gittins. But until they do that and have at least one layer of protection at first base, I could see them keeping Gittins just because he's a power bat and he's not a disaster. But I'm hoping that they shoot for the moon at first base. I really do. I really do. So we'll see. Let's see. Go back here a little bit. DFA. Kriski's already. He was sent to the Baltimore Orioles. They put him on waivers, and Orioles picked up Brooks Kriski. He's no longer with the Yankees. Under control. Thomas. Zach Gallen from the Diamond. Yeah, Gallen's another one. I proposed a trade with like Gallen and Keita Marte. That would address 2 holes at one. And anytime you can come up with a trade, I think that addresses more than one hole, more than one position, it'd be a good idea. I mean, it would be a costly trade, but those are more productive trades too. You can, address this and that. That's why I like these trades with the A's, because you can address pitcher and catcher at the same time. And the Diamondbacks, Gallen and Keita Marte would be fantastic too if they could pull it off. But yeah, exactly. I mean, and this is where Cashman is much better in the offseason with trades than he is at the deadline. So I'm hoping that he can pull off something really, really good that, puts the Yankees in a better position. So we'll see. We'll see what he's made of now. Yeah. Trade Hicks for a bag of peanuts. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. No. Torres 301 with 31 home runs and 620 OPS. Yeah. Yeah, Thomas. That's right, man. Yeah, what is this? Webcam. I'm going to get out of here with that. Yeah, get out of here with that. All right. We need a team that can stay intact like the core. Yeah, exactly, Ola. You're absolutely right. Intact with we need a new core, like core group now, and we need the right chemistry too. And that's also important. Young guys, veterans. You see the chemistry on the Braves; it was incredible. Even the chemistry with the Astros. I mean, even in their cheating scandal ways, they were at least a tight knit group. So we need that with the Yankees. We really, really do. So that's a great point, Ola. It really is. Yeah, spam me exactly. Let me see if I can just. I'm gonna get that person out of here. Uh, spam port. All right. All right. I reported that person, so get out of here. Um, team's been very disconnected at times of playing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Luke's celebrating. You're 100%. I mean, I know he wears his heart on his sleeve and he's an emotional guy, but like celebrating a home run when you're 6 runs down, that's kind of tacky. That's kind of tacky. They need to do, they need to be focused on getting ahead of these teams and beating them. So, Red Sox hitting coach, I did hear that he could be another guy, another option for the Yankees, to be the new hitting coach. So I would be at least give him an interview. Absolutely Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Rican, Latin American players franchise. They're loaded with talent. There's so many good Latin American players. I mean, Yankees have had their share too. Even homegrown guys like Bernie Williams and love those guys. Absolutely love them. Duque, like fantastic, man. Fantastic players. I mean, Cano was homegrown too until he went over to Seattle and the Mets and turned into a complete idiot. But we had him during a lot of his prime years, so I'm not complaining about that. He didn't do any of that stuff here. So, um, and again, Gleyber's a dynamic young player. He hopefully if he stays, he gets it right and puts his head back together and just starts kind of getting refocus again. And we need coaches that are going to help these guys, these players focus, man, and refocus and stay locked in because it is a long season. Got to be locked in. Cherry, I did see a prediction of Kershaw to the Angels recently. I think yesterday. Would I be surprised? No. I mean, I think he's from Texas too. So would I be surprised if we went to the Texas Rangers? I would not. But I think he's going to want to go to either stay with the Dodgers or go to a team that's close to winning again. The Angels aren't that close yet, but I could see them being aggressive in this year and the following year. And they have an owner that's willing to spend for the right people. So Cashman he's got, well, I'm hoping that he has a chip on his shoulder. I'm hoping that he acts accordingly, Thomas. So I really hope he's like, these GMs have made me look like a jackass these last couple of years. So we haven't done the right things. We gotta right this ship. So, and hopefully they do. I really do. Tanaka, yeah, I mean, people are saying Tanaka, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't pick him ahead of like a Manea or Castillo and whatnot. I mean, reliable pitcher, yeah, but again, he couldn't get through the fifth inning anymore either. So, and we need some length. We really do. But if they got Tanaka, I mean, if he pitched well, I loved him when he was here. So, hold on, I just saw something here. Trade offer of I had a trade offer of Luis Castillo and Jesse Winkler for Torres, Frazier, Schmidt. Jesse Winker, not Winkler. I keep saying Winkler for some reason. Castillo and Winker for Torres, Frazier, and Schmidt. If we did this 2 years ago, that would have been a heist. Zishan, 24. That would have been an absolute heist. You're absolutely right. Heist. Get this person out of here again. Yeah, man. Who would I sign as? I don't know yet, Calvin. I don't know who's available yet. I'm doing some homework, and I'll actually do a video on some top hitting coach candidates for the Yankees. I'll put out a video for that, Calvin. I'm going to do a little bit more homework for that. I really do. Or get these spammers out of here. Who would I sign? This is how you making it if you start getting the cam girl bots. Yeah, I know. I know, Thomas. I guess I'm doing something right and getting the girl bot cams on here. And I can't block for some reason. I can only report. It's not letting me block. So, but I'm staying up with them at least. I'm staying on them. So, but yeah, yeah, maybe I'm making it. Need to get a shirt. Need to get some kind of swag. Jorge Soler batting stance reminds me. It does, man. It's your boy, dude. And he was hitting bombs this offseason, man. Bombs. And he's a big dude. I didn't realize how big he was. But he does remind me of Stanton. That's a perfect comparison. Um, but yeah, I'm of the same opinion, Davey. You know, I like Tanaka when he's here, but I'm not of the opinion we should reunite with some of these players like several years later. I just don't. I don't see the point in doing it. I mean, I don't think it'll be good, and based on what the Yankees need, I don't think it'll be a good idea. Harassing again. These folks, man, these guys are relentless, man. These guys are relentless. Yeah, I mean, I'm modding it myself right now. You always want. I mean, once I get up to like 10,000 subs or something like that, I'll maybe get a mod on here so that it doesn't get this far. But I'm knocking them out whenever I can. But yeah, you always 100%. I mean, yeah, Alan, I've been saying this forever. First one has to be addressed as Judge. Like, they need to see what they need to make their best offer for an extension this offseason, because if he turns it down, they can trade him and get a haul back. This is the only time that they can either have a win-win scenario where if they trade him for a haul, they get a boatload back. They extend him, they have him locked up, and he plays well and stays healthy. They win either way. But if you can't wait till next season, because then they have zero leverage. He's going to be gone, or he's going to go where the money is. So, and now's the time to make an offer, your best offer, and if he says no, wants to test free agency, fine, you trade him, and then and that's it. We've already had 5 years of his prime. If he signs like an 8 or 10 year deal, maybe you might get 2 or 3 prime years, and you're gonna have 5 decline years, even more. So, do you really want to pay $35-40 million for that? I know I wouldn't. Not at 31 years old when his contract's gonna start. So, I like him, but I like the Yankees more. And I said that all the time. Chili Davis is an option. I mean, he was a coach with the Yankees for a bit. He was a great player. I really liked him. He's a great leader. So, I mean, he was a great leader. Daly, yeah, I'm trying. I can't block them. I can only report them. So, blocking them allows me to ban them, but there's no block option for those guys. So, but I'm looking into that too. Yeah, he was Boston's hitting coach for a bit, and he might have been hitting coach for another team too. But I would at the least give him an interview, 100%. Him and the Boston guy, and I mean, they need to have some guys, and he has guys with some experience. And he was a pro. He was on some of them winning Yankee teams in like '99 and 2000, '98. So he's a type of pro that we need here, and a guy that's not afraid to push hitters and hold them accountable. That's what you need in a damn hitting coach. So, and we need that. We got to get away from this Bronx Country Club and go back to the Bronx Zoo. So Gleyber Day every day. Yeah, I hear you, Jeffrey. I mean, I hope he plays well. If they keep him, I hope he plays really well. He's a young player. He's got a lot of talent. So, and I don't care if he goes back to 38 home runs. If he hits 25 and just plays good defense and just consistent, I'd be really happy with that, man. But I wouldn't be offended at 38 again. So, Aaron Boone home run. Duh. I can watch that 100 times in a row, Thomas. The first pitch off Tim Wakefield, hitting that bomb, putting him in the World Series. He'll forever be a legend for that. But if he wins a World Series as a manager here, then his legacy will be stamped here forever, no matter how much people hate him right now. So, you right, Ola? You see me, Bernie, Duque, like even guys like Luis Sojo, role players, loved him. Homer Bush stole a lot of bases when they needed base stealing. Like these guys were Shane Spencer. Like these guys were great role players. Luis Vizcaino, like Jose Vizcaino. Excuse me. I love these guys. They did so many things, and it just Eddie. I mean, Rosario reminds me of these guys, and he does a lot of these little things. That's why it would be a really good idea if they brought in somebody like that here, because it gives them and it gives you like a feel of that winning and gamer mentality. They need some of that. They don't have that right now. So we need some more hustle here. We need some more of this stuff. But I apologize all ahead of time. I'll always be reminiscent about those times and the good old days. We need to get back to that. We really, really do. I love those guys. Wade Boggs, if he's interested, I would interview him. So I would interview Edgar Martinez too. That guy was a clutch hitter, and I think he'd be probably a good coach. Beltran might get an interview, but he does have that stink of the Astros cheating scandal on him. That's why the Mets hired him and then fired him the next day. his manager. So because he's considered one of the masterminds of it. So I don't know if they want to bring that type of baggage here. He's a great player, great teammate, but he's going to have that tie to him, unfortunately. We'll see. I mean, I think they should have a good line of people, though. Thoughts on using my best bullpen on your arm as your closer? Kind of sick of labels and think lasagna. I mean, he should get an opportunity. I would bring in somebody like Racel Iglesias and Kendall Grapen too, just to give him another power arm. And again, it gives them flexibility to move Chapman. If somebody's interested, you move him, and then you attach a good prospect so that the other team eats the whole contract, or you try to get him to do that. So, but lasagna, I would give him a shot, especially if they move Chapman. Sure. He's young. He's only 27. He's got a really live arm, and he's good. He is really good. So exactly, Lorenzo. They do need a 2009 type offseason. That was a monster offseason. So, and they won the World Series. Do I think the Yankees strike sooner than later? You know what? I mean, I hope that they do. And I said this in this season, I'd rather them be the first than the best. So they strike first. They negate the opportunity for some of their rivals to get some of the guys that they want. So I think they might strike soon with something. I just don't know what, but I don't think they're going to be aggressive the first half of the offseason. I think they'll be aggressive in the second half. But if I were them, I mean, 2009, as soon as free agency started, Brian Cashman called Sabathia. He's like, can you open the door? He was at Sabathia's doorstep at his house. That's how he got Sabathia here, okay? That's the type of – we need that. Like Billy Beane from Moneyball when he was at freaking Scott Hatterberg's doing it. Can you open a door for us on your front porch? Like that's what we need, man. We need that interest. We need to show them like we really want you. That's why I'm here right now. And you got to do that. You fly there and then you fly somewhere else and you fly somewhere else. You go there until you don't stop until you get some guys here. That would be an off season. Paul O'Neill's hitting coach would be lovely. He's gotten a gamer and. He was a great Yankee. He really, really does. He really, really was. A lot of these guys would be, intriguing options. Tino, my fear of Tino, because he was a hitting coach for the Tampa Bay Rays, and he was like brutal on the players, and the players hated him as coach. So they fired him after, and I don't even think it was a season. He was like, he was a really angry dude. So I don't know if Tino would work, but he was a hell of a Yankee. I'll tell you that much. Who shot the dono here? Christopher, thank you for the dono. Dono love, Tono height for Christopher Curtis. Olson Correa and another solid starter. Thank you for him. I appreciate your support. I'm going to continue working hard for you guys all off season. And thank you for the dono, man. I appreciate this. You guys are awesome with these donos, man. I appreciate the support. But yeah, I mean, that would be a monster off season too. You get Olson and Correa, that changes the whole lineup. It really does. It really, really does. I mean, you make it so much more dynamic and so much more athletic and just so much more versatile. And like, my goodness. I like him, but I like the Yankees more. Best friend. Appreciate that, Davey. I mean, that's the way I feel. That's why I don't like making it about one person. This isn't like the NBA with its 5 guys. Like, and I said this before, you could put Michael Jordan there with a high school basketball team and he'd still make the playoffs. Like the Bulls. Like, this is different. They haven't won a world, and some people have said that Cole hasn't delivered us a championship in 2 years. Well, neither has Judge in 5. So I like to keep the accountability across the board even though I like Judge. He's a good player. He's a great player. But, we need more than Judge to turn this thing around. So Didi can come back, and again, he'd be a decent stopgap option. And again, he's not that old. He's a good, solid shortstop. As a stopgap, yeah, as long as he's not blocking any of these prospects, if they wind up going that route, but I still have guys ahead of him on the list, in terms of shortstop. So, and that'd be my, he's on the bottom of my shortstop list, but they got him. He was a great Yankee when he was here. Took him a year to get adjusted, but he was really great. Great teammate too, and a pro, absolute pro. Stroman going back, I would not be surprised if he went back to the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are going to be aggressive, so because they're going to want to get to that next level. So if Chapman gets trade him to the Mets, send him to the Mets. Send him to the Mets. Just give us a decent prospect in return. Whit Merrifield would be great too. He's an older player, but he's top 3 in baseball in stolen bases, just like Starling Marte. The two older guys are leading in major leagues in stolen bases. Starling Marte and Whit Merrifield. They're stealing more bases than these young kids are stealing. So that's a sign of a really good player. Oh, have Mike Tauchman pitch. Yeah, it's a good one, Dylan. But hey, Chris Curtis, thank you again, man. I appreciate that, don't I? Appreciate the love and support, man. Bryce Harper, Nola to the Yankees. I heard Harper hates the Phillies. That would mean bye. Yeah, I would. Well, you would want the Phillies to either eat some contract of Harper or absorb some contract. If you're going to send Gallo, I would send Chapman back to them because they need bullpen help, and I would see if they could take I don't know take somebody another contract because Harper still has like $250 million on his contract, so Nola's another one. But Harper's, I wanted Harper when Yankees when he was a free agent. He is a gamer, he's really a gamer. He's a hell of a lot better than Joey Gallo, but that would be a crazy trade, an absolute that would be a monster trade. Gallo to Oakland and bring in Olsen, getting Rosario for left field. It'll cost more than Gallo to get Olsen, but yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And again, Oakland's not in the business of paying players, so Gallo's got 1 year control, and he's a free agent. They can give him a qualifying offer and get a draft pick if they trade like this. But any scenario where they can get Matt Olsen and it's not a ridiculous overpay, they have to do it. They really do. If I were GM, that'd be one of the first calls I'd be making to the GM of the Oakland A's. What do you want for Matt Olson? What do you want for Sean Murphy? What do you like for Sean Manaea? Is it possible to do all three? That would be a blockbuster of epic proportions. But if there's any way you can do it, even if it's an 8-player trade, 5 for 3 or whatever the hell it is, and it's not Volpe, and let's not get it wrong here. They're gonna ask for Volpe. They're gonna ask for Dominguez, but just like Cashman when he makes trades, he asks for the top, and then you find some middle ground somewhere where it becomes more of it could be some quantity and more some quality and more quantity. So the A's are just not in the business of paying players. Slide off topic. Thoughts on Judge getting snubbed for Gold? Yeah, he's a great outfielder. I thought he should have won a Gold Glove. He's a really, really good defensive outfielder. I'll give him that. He's an elite defensive outfielder. So he's a hell of a, and he's got a great arm too. Him and Gallo have ridiculous arms. We trade with Colorado. We need to get Tapia back in return. Yeah, Tapia would be nice. Yeah. Franchise. Yeah, another good point. Dude, you're making good points, bro. By the way, Franchise Jay's got his own thing going on, so check him out. Make sure you guys check out Franchise Jay. That's the name of his channel, Franchise Jay. And he's going to be putting out some good content now. So he's getting up and running. Let's try and support him as best we can. Knowing Mango Anthony Rizzo to the Red Sox. Yeah, my fear is Rizzo will go to Boston. But no, I don't think it makes sense for him to go back to the Yankees either. They're going to have to pay him more than $70, but he turned down a 5-year, $70 million deal already. So a lot of Yankees get snubbed. I remember Tino Martinez 1 year had a great defensive infielder for him. He was a Gold Glove at first base, but he got beat up by Rafael Palmeiro, and Palmeiro played like 40 games that year, and he somehow won the Gold Glove. I'll never understand that to this day. That was like scandalous. It really was. Oakland's definitely losing Marte. They're not going to pay him. No way. Judge doesn't re-sign with the Yankees. He could be traded to the Brewers. Yeah, he could be traded to the West Coast too. Any of those teams. Catching prospect. Yeah, I would definitely want an elite catching prospect in return for Judge and some pitching and anything you can get. And he is an underrated defender, Jared. He is. He's a great defensive player. I think the Yankees can sign Freeman. I don't think that they will, though, Clint. He's gonna cost probably $150 million, and they need to invest money elsewhere first before they give that kind of expenditure to a Freddie Freeman. But Freddie Freeman's a stud. I just wish he was 28 instead of 32. So I'd give up Hill and Davey in a trade if we got back Sean Murphy, Olsen. Yes, I would too, because they have Luis Medina, who projects to be a little bit more higher rated than Luis Hill. I would hate to give up Luis Hill because I think he can be a mainstay in rotation. But if you get that catcher Murphy, Olsen, and Manaea, I would give up those guys too. Davey went from the Yankees' #1 prospect down to 11. He's regressed so much. I hope he turns it around. But again, if the A's are one of the few teams that can extract from players that the Yankees can't. Like James Caprillion, the Yankees couldn't get much out of him. The A's got a lot out of him. So they can extract. I would imagine they'd be able to turn Davy Garcia around in a way that the Yankees have not or cannot. So you move him in that trade 100%. 100%. And again, for that type of package, it's going to have to hurt. It will. And Hill will hurt. But for that return, be worth it. It'd be worth it. So, but this is where I mean the Yankees need to be drafting more pitchers and developing them better. They have to bring in more baseball people that can develop pitchers better because the Yankees are terrible at developing starting pitchers. If they're drafted from college, Hill's an international. So, that's it. And these guys tend to be a little bit closer for the most part than the pitchers at the Yankees draft. So, no doubt, franchise Jay. I want to support you guys and gals, man. If you got your own thing, especially if it's baseball and Yankees, I want to support you guys. Just like you support me, I'm going to support you back. So no doubt about it, man. Thank you for it, James. I was just a little. I wanted to make it more Yankee specific because not everybody knows what 161 River Ave is, and for those of you that don't, it's the address of the older Yankee Stadium. So, but not everybody remembers it. And when I put the street signal, some people don't figure it out. So, and that's why I wanted to change it to the Yankee emblem so that people know more immediately that it's actually a Yankees channel because some people just will pass it by. And I don't want them to miss out on, being part of this 161 mafia. So, you know what I mean? Correa. Yeah, exactly, man. Well, Correa, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Volpe's going to project as a third baseman probably, and even Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera will probably be a second baseman or something like that. So Correa wouldn't be necessarily be blocking guys. I'm just leery of giving a guy another $300 million contract. But again, if you're going to give $300 million to somebody, it's got to be Correa this offseason. It cannot be Corey Seager. They'd be nuts. They'd be nuts. Yeah, man. Yeah. My prediction, Cherry, was Correa to the Phillies. If you haven't seen my MLB free agent predictions video, I put it out a few days ago. It's in the description, but I predicted Correa to the Phillies. So oh yeah, 100%. It has become a joke. It really has. It's just guys that deserve some of these awards are not getting them, and some guys that don't deserve them are. So 100%. So. Freeman wants to stay reminds me. Yeah, exactly. Brian McCann. And, don't be surprised if somebody blows Freeman away with an offer and he goes else. He's got his world championship now with the Braves. I'm not sure if I see them doing it again in the next couple of years because I think some of those guys like Soler is going to move on and some of these other guys are going to move on. So even though they're going to get Acuna back, I just don't know if it's going to happen again. But if somebody blows him away, why not go? Why not? So they definitely need to do a better job at developing. Particularly, they're great at developing position players and relief pitchers, but starting pitching and catching, they're terrible, terrible. And that's where I think the Yankees need to invest some resources into some better player development people, just more baseball people, and better coaching. Man, really, they really do. And by the way, guys, if you haven't hit the like yet, can you hit that like button? I want to get those likes up. I'm trying to get them over 50. I appreciate that for your help. Just really helpful to the channel. YouTube filters it through its algorithm too. It gets the channel more activity. So I appreciate it either way. Gallo and whatever to the Padres. Yeah, Luis Camposano I think is their best catching prospect. So if you can net him from the Padres, and it'll cost a little more than Gallo, but that's a trade you have to consider there. Again, the Yankees don't have an obvious replacement for Sanchez, and they need one. So, Cleveland is fantastic at developing starting pitchers. If you can package, you send some guys over there if there's any way you can extract the Jose Ramirez, that's going to be a far-fetched trade. But if there's any way you can do it, that's the type of guy you give a haul for. Matt Olson's the type of guy you give a haul for. So, again, I don't know how possible it is, but appreciate that, Jared. I don't know how possible it is, but they have to try. They really do. They have to try. James, you like that 161 Mafia? So Jesus the King Chavez brought that up early, and I loved it. So I'm actually going to look and see if I can trademark that if it's not available yet. And if I get enough interest, I have a friend who makes shirts, and I might put out, see if I can get a T-shirt made of some kind of like a 161 Mafia swag. That'll be our thing. So if anybody's interested in that type of stuff, let me know, and I'll look into it more seriously if people want to buy a shirt or something like that. I know it's you know too much gimmicky, but I think it'd be pretty cool. So to have something that's our own. So 161 Mafia. People tend to. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really, really cool. So Cherry, I did predict. I predicted Jansen to the Phillies also. So you're reading my mind. Carlos Rodon to the Blue. I had you guys are you guys are on it. I have Carlos Rodon replacing Robbie Ray in Toronto. So these are all my prediction videos. You guys must have watched it, right? But yeah, these are all eerily similar to what I've been predicting too. But we'll see. I'd be curious to see if any of my predictions come true. But I think they represent the right fits for these guys. Freeman, if the Yankees, Sean Miner, the gamer 29. If the Yankees got Freeman, I would not be offended. But if they could get Matt Olson in a trade, I would do that first because it wouldn't be as expensive. And the Matt Olson's just 5 years younger, so I'd rather go with the youth. And even if you got if a 5-year deal, he'd be ending his 5-year deal at the start of Freddie Freeman's new deal. So, but if you get Freeman, you get Freddie Freeman. That's superstar. Can't claim we're getting a superstar. At first, he's a defensive whiz over at first base too, and he's a lefty bat, and he can hit the ball everywhere. So that's the type of guy you want. So Freeman, Olson, green light for both. Green light, baby. I hope you enjoy it, Sean Miner, the Gamer 29. I hope you come back and watch it some more and join us. I have 2 live streams a week, one midweek and then one around Saturday night or something like that, so we can keep you guys updated on everything that's going on. So, and I'll be doing it all off season. We got a lot of stuff it's going to be a hot off season, so it's definitely going to be fire. 161 Mafia shirts. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of requests now to make these shirts. I'm at the very least going to look into it, and if it's financially reasonable, then we'll see what we can do. But Bob Trambly, appreciate the dono too. Dono hype and love for Bob Trambly. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And again, all this stuff helps make the channel better. So I appreciate all the support. I could see, Trevor's story to the Astros. I could see that too, replacing Correa. I really could. Make 161 Mafia. All right. Well, again, 161 Mafia shirts would be our thing. So wear it, people like that. That's my crew. That's my crew. So it'll be our thing. So especially if we get a trademark, nobody can duplicate it. So I'm looking into it. Sweet. All right. Look into it. Pirates catcher, another one. Yeah, the Pirates also line up nicely with the Yankees for a trade. For a couple different pieces, even if it's JT Brubaker starting pitcher. Obviously Brian Reynolds is my fantasy get, but I don't know how realistic it is. I think they want to try to build around him and what's the other kid, Ryan Hayes, like a young superstar dynamic player. So I get it. I totally get if they want to keep him. So, all right, I'm getting a lot of James Lee. All right, I'll have some intel for you guys on that stuff on the shirts. So I'll have some intel for you guys and gals. As soon as I can get it, you'll get it. Hicks will have one good play. Yeah, exactly. And he's gonna rupture something. I'll lie with you 100%. Right. And he is tradable, but he has to, Ted, I agree with you, he's tradable. He has to just establish that he's healthy. And then once he's healthy and can play, then it'll be much easier to trade him. But if he's a walk-in, wheelchair, then that's not gonna, it'll be much harder to trade. So I hope that they're smart about this. Christopher Curtis, again, thank you again, bro, for another dono, man. Fire, dude. Dono love and hype for Christopher Curtis. Let's give Gallo a chance with the new hitting coach, the power plus contact hitter, and that. Yeah, exactly. And starting the season with the Yankees instead of, being thrown to the wolves in a playoff race, I think it'll be a better thing with a new hitting coach. And I hope a new hitting coach can get a lot out of him and Gleyber Torres, just unleash these guys. And they have high upside. And if they somehow keep Gary Sanchez, maybe the hitting coach will do something with Sanchez too and, make him productive. But, we also need a good catching instructor too who's going to, make him less of an idiot behind the plate. So we need that too. But a new hitting coach, I really hope they pick the right guy. I really, really do. Um, so we'll see. This coaching pick is going to be really interesting. But thank you again, Christopher Curtis. Appreciate that very, very much, and Bob too. All you guys. Hicks should not. I don't. Yeah, I agree with you, Griminator, 100%, man. He's not an everyday guy anymore. Ever since he decided he wanted to become the Incredible Hulk and Barry Bonds in one, he lost his mobility and he started getting hurt. Like, you don't need to be that way. Before he was, he was very athletic and a switch hitter. He was versatile, doing a lot of the things and hitting the balls in the gaps. But then he wanted to become, the 70 home run Barry Bonds guy, and it didn't work for him. It just didn't work. Question, James: Can Whit Merrifield play shortstop? I don't think he has, so I don't know. I know he's been playing second base and he's been supplanted out to the outfield now. So, but he's athletic enough. You trade for Olsen and Merrifield. I mean, Merrifield's got 1 year left before he's a free agent. So I think the Yankees are going to probably want more of a long-term commitment. But that's intriguing, Merrifield. It really is. And again, you'd have another guy to steal bases. I mean, and hopefully they actually let him steal bases. So that's the other thing. But you sign a free agent pitcher and Starling Marte. If you got Marte, Olsen, and Merrifield and a starting pitcher, that'd be a hell of an offseason. A hell of an offseason. It really would. Morgan, thank you and congratulations. Well, thank you for the support in the videos, but congratulations to the Braves for 2021 World Series championship. Our fellow Braves fan here, Morgan, give him some love. And they had a hell of a run this year. They were a hell of a team. They were the best team in baseball. They deserved to win that championship. So brought that city a lot of joy and just a lot of us Yankee fans are rooting for them too. So it's a great team. Really, really a great team. So I'm happy for you, Morgan. I really am. Cold Nelson May. Sweaters. All right. Well, at first, at the minimum, I'll look at T-shirts and then we'll see. We're able to sell enough. If I'm get enough out, then we'll step to that level. But I'll start if I can. I'll start with T-shirts. I have to talk to my boy Jeff. So, Mendel Libero, the channel name. So it used to be Diehard Yankee Fan 447, but I changed it to 161 River Avenue. I wanted to make it more just Yankee specific to the masses. But 161 River Ave was the original address of the Yankee Stadium. Was the address of the original Yankee Stadium. So that's what kind of tied it in. And that's why I changed the logo now to be more Yankee specific. It used to be 161 Street and River Avenue, but not a lot of folks caught the relevance of it. So I wanted to at least change it to a Yankee logo so that when people look at it, if they scroll and it pops up, at least they know it's a Yankee specific channel instead of a channel that, some people ask me if I was a subway train conductor. I'm not a train conductor. So I wanted them to know it's a Yankee channel. So, but we do cater to other teams as well. We accommodate other teams, and I do stuff for other teams and give credit to other teams, just like the Braves. And I put out a video when they won the World Series. So I don't discriminate against other teams, but the most of the content here is Yankee specific because we have a huge community of Yankee fans. So, but I appreciate it. You non-Yankee fans coming here and enjoying some videos and enjoying this dialogue. I got a lot of great people in here. So, and you're all welcome. You're all welcome, man. So what do we got here? T-Rich, trade for Olsen and Jose. If you can get Olsen and Jose Ramirez, my God, that alone would be we're gonna have to give up probably half the farm for that, but that would be nuts. Trade Torres, Voit, Frazier, Andujar, or Shell if they get Ramirez. Don't re-sign Garner. Extend Judge, sign Marte, Starling Marte, Simeon, Rodon, or Ray, and Rizzo Freeman. If no Olsen, that would be a 2009 type offseason right there. An offseason that'll set them up nicely for the short term and the long term, Rich. That's an aggressive offseason, but I like that type of thinking. So, and that's where I think Cashman needs to be aggressive. I think he knows, man. He's like, dude, I got to get out. I got to get my ass to work. So he should be working the phones right now. And I know it's limited right now because they can't tamper or whatever, but they should be out. He should be making a serious plan for this offseason. And I hope it includes catcher because that's one of the more urgent needs. So we need somebody that pitchers want to actually throw to. Franchise, if we sign Rodon and Stroman and make that blockbuster with the A's from Nea, Olsen, and Murphy, we'd have 3 new starters right there, which would be completely insane, but awesome. And the Yankees always have starting pitching injuries, so they need the depth. And if they were able to get Sean Murphy, who can catch all these guys, and Olsen at first base, I mean, right there, that's a whole new Yankee team. Whole new Yankey team. I know this sounds crazy, but Reynolds, Olsen, Matt Chapman, 2 starting pitchers, 2 bullpen arms. Yeah, but that's an awesome crazy. Tim King of Jordans. That's an awesome crazy. I would be all over that. All over it. The spam is going. I don't know, Jared. I mean, I report them. I haven't seen it in a little bit, but if anybody pops up again with the spam, I'll report them. You know, for some reason I can't block them, but getting these spam, free live girls or whatever it is here, but trying to get rid of them as quickly as I can. But they infiltrate a lot of different pages, a lot of different channels like this, especially when something's going on live. They're able to locate it and they just put their BS in there. So, but I wish we can, ban them permanently. Just there's no prompt to ban them for some reason. Merrifield would be great. I mean, if you can do a trade with Merrifield and their top catching prospect, that would be fantastic. That would be a nice trade. Really nice. It's going to cost a bit, but it would be a nice trade. And thank you guys for all the likes, man. We got it up to 50. I appreciate that. And one of these days, maybe we'll get it up to 100. We'll see. That would be kind of cool, though. So, Mandel, I hope you, Mendel, I hope you appreciate the logic behind the channel name. Martin Merrifield is some of the game's fastest. Yeah, man. Contact and speed in one, James. Yes, absolutely. They're both right-handed, but those types of guys, I don't mind. If you can add a Matt Olson somehow to that and you have another lefty bat, that lineup would be so dynamic. It would be just ridiculous. And it'd be like a murderer's row. People would hate pitching to the Yankees. And they love pitching to the Yankees for the most part now. They would hate it then. So, good, James. Cool. I know you did. I know you did. For some reason, a lot of folks don't understand, don't know where 161 River Ave was. So that's why why I put the Yankee emblem there, so that it makes more sense. A few words representing Buster Posey retiring. So we did talk about it in the beginning, Robert. I actually put a video on it earlier. So take a look at my channel. The video before this is I put out like a little tribute to Buster Posey. But yeah, he retired at 34. Well, he's announcing it officially tomorrow. And I offer him a congratulations on a wonderful career. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame, 12-year career, going out with 3 championships, multiple All-Stars, multiple Gold Gloves, one of the best. He's going to be a mainstay in San Francisco lore. Just wish him well in any future endeavors. But that was a surprise. It really was. I thought he was going to, cash in on free agency again for at least a couple years. But that was a surprise. But he'll be missed. He'll definitely be missed. But I think he's passing the torch now to Joey Bart, who's an elite catching prospect, one of the top in major leagues in the top 100 major leagues. So, San Francisco will be left in good hands. That's for sure. For sure, Robert. So, and take a look at my video because it's a short one. It's like 2 minutes, but I did one just to kind of tribute to Buster Posey. So, hope you enjoy it and appreciate it. Didi, yeah, Didi's an option. I mean, I think as a stopgap because I think he's 31 now. So, but stopgap option. I mean, I wouldn't be offended if they brought back Didi. He was really good as a Yankee, but he's, again, like I said, he's on the bottom of my list. There's several guys before him, Ted, for shortstop, in my opinion. So, Billy Bain and Cashman, yeah, they should. Yeah, they should be going. Going to movies together and hanging out. And they're like, yes, definitely speed dial. My God, they should be BFFs, especially right now. They can do a lot for each other. A lot. Yadier Molina, yeah, Lorenzo, that would be fantastic. He said, I think he said he's doing one more year with the Cardinals and then calling it, and then hanging up the cleats. No, but yeah, that dude's a Cardinal lifer. But he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Fame catcher. There's no doubt about it. And Buster Posey will be too. Yeah, I mean, Posey was a great player, class act, great teammate, Robert. And he's going to go to the Hall of Fame, one of the better catchers in this generation. And I hope to see more players like him, Robert Rothberg. I mean, and again, he's going to be one of the best in San Francisco Giants history. So retiring early at 34, a surprise, but going out on top, going out in style. So rather than signing for a couple more years and then having a huge decline, he to me it's a smart move, surprising but smart. Daily News the next couple weeks to be praising genius moves and not calling for Cashman's head. I'm hoping so, Randy. He is, and I am him now. So I really hope so. I hope he does some things worthy of praise. I really do, and I hope Hal, gives him the green light to do it, and that's the key too. We signed Yachty last offseason. I know they tried, but I know he was eager to go back to St. Louis, and they were eager to have him back. That dude's, he's the face of the franchise over there. He took over as the face after Pujols left, and I can't believe Pujols left 10 years ago. So that's ridiculous. The old stadium, all out. So I had my mom had season tickets, and I used to go to the game with my mom all the time. The stadium before this was 10 times louder. Like this stadium is seating things go out. It does that in the new stadium, in the old stadium too, but the seats are right over you. And I've had stories of guys ripping out chairs, and my mom was at a game where a guy ripped out a chair and gave it to her. Even at the last game of at the old stadium, my mom and I were at that too. They had like hatchets, and they were carving pieces of the stadium out as a memoir. And my wife and I went to the home run derby there in 2008, where Josh Hamilton hit like 5,000 home runs. We were at that. I was at David Cohen's perfect game, Jim Abbott's no hitter. We were at so many awesome games. When they clinched in '99, swept the Braves, we were at that. We were at the World Series game against the Diamondbacks where George Bush drew out the first pitch. And we were at so many wonderful games at the old Yankee Stadium. This one is, I like it, but it's more modernized. That old one, it's irreplaceable. That was an absolute gem. And that part I missed. And it was, again, 10 times louder than this one. We were there for that David Justice home run off Arthur Rhodes in 2000 to put him in the Subway Series. And Don Mattingly was sitting right behind us in a luxury box a few rows back. And when David Justice hit the home run, they nearly tore the stadium down. The place was so loud. It was just insane. So it was so many wonderful memories at that old stadium. It's just, yeah, the memories. You're right too. It looks like they don't. I don't think they're doing. The coaches are doing, and Boone are giving them enough of the basics. Fundamental ball. They just look unprepared. They look sloppy at times. They just look uninterested, and they need to get somebody out there who's going to light a fire under their butt and play just drill. And these guys need to drill all season long. So drill, defense, moves, this, that. Like they look so overwhelmed defensively and so often now that it just looks like a AAA team sometimes playing a minor league team. Playing a major league team. So overmatched. So I'm with you 100% with the fundamentals. They need they need to get better at that. Jeffrey, your uncle built that's awesome, Jeffrey. Dude, that's awesome. Freaking awesome. It's a great stadium. It's a fantastic stadium. The old one to me. I'm partial to the old one too because I grew up with it, and it was really special. You can actually buy those stadium chairs. I wanted one too. I should have ripped one out in the last game too, but I didn't. They have them for sale in some websites, and I think maybe even Amazon. But if you look up a Yankee Stadium chair, you'll see one of those blue, hard, uncomfortable plastic chairs. You can buy them, and. But yeah, the old stadium it was special. It really was special. Jim Abbott, one-handed no-hitter is incredible. Dude, it was very impressive, Jared. I actually sat behind home plate with my mom. I wore a big green cowboy hat just to get on TV. And we caught a foul ball. That game, too. Yeah, I'll never forget that game. Carlos Baerga made the last out. Hit the ball to, I think it was short. It might have been, no, it wasn't Jeter. It was maybe Alvaro Espinosa, and threw it to first base. And I think it was Mattingly. Matt Noakes was the catcher. And it was really, really cool. Really, really appreciate it, Griminator. It was, yeah. Anytime you see something like that, I've been to like a lot of no-hitters. My wife and I and her dad went to a game in Phillies when they played the Dodgers, and Josh Beckett no-hit the Phillies. We were at that game too. So we were at so many different crazy games. So we were at a Baltimore Orioles Yankee game in Camden Yards, and we sat like 2 rows over the dugout. And not only did was it Chad Green? Yeah, threw a ball into the stands. My wife caught it, and then some guy was hit in the face with a split bat, right? And it's blood everywhere in the same game. So many crazy things happen in so many games that we go to is crazy. It's crazy. Like, so much action. It's ridiculous. Harmon Killebrew hit a line drive home run. That's awesome, Robert. That guy was a hell of a player. This reminds me of Roy Hobbs from The Natural. Citi Field. Citi Field it's a great stadium. I liked the old Shea Stadium too, but Citi Field has got more. It's got more history and it's got a little bit more personality, in my opinion. But it's a great stadium. It's also crazy expensive. But if I'm going to go to any stadium, it's going to be Yankee Stadium. Last game I was at was with my mom, May 6, 2019, Yankees spank Seattle. I got to see CC play. That's awesome franchise. Yeah, I haven't been to a game in a couple of years because of COVID. So hopefully things get back to just to get a little bit more safer, and I can go back to a game with mom. So because that was our thing every year. We used to go to opening day every year too, and haven't been able to do that for a couple of years. So, but one of these days. But I have my channel locked in on the TV, so I'm definitely watch everything I can. So I want to be as in tune with what's going on in the Yankee world as I possibly can. I would agree too, Randy. He is. I don't think he should have been a hitting coach. I just don't. You're right. Oh, I remember that when he hit his first home. That might have been his first at bat too. But I know his first home run was off Randy Johnson. That was pretty cool too, Randy. That was pretty cool. Buck Showalter would be the great bench coach. I mean, if you got Showalter and Ron Washington, that would be awesome. A-Rod, I mean, be intriguing. I think he's just universally hated in Yankee world, unfortunately, Griminator. But if he came here and did well, no problem. Coney would be a nice. He's a very knowledgeable guy too, David Cone. He's not afraid to call stuff out. We need guys like that. And I've always loved David Cone. Especially being at his perfect game. That was cool. And after he retired, he sat in the bleachers once with we were at that game, but he was part of the bleacher creatures and they were taunting the people next to them and saying, box seats suck, box seat. And he was there with them, chanting with them, box. He just sat in the bleachers one day and was hanging out with everybody. That was cool too. We were at that game. We saw it on the screen. That was really cool. That was really funny. Ground ball. Yeah. Oh, Randy Velarde, not Espinosa. You're right, Ted. Randy Velarde. And he threw it to Mattingly. That's right. Good catch. Good catch. Hensley Bam Bam. He's another one. He was beat out by Boone to be the manager. He was runner-up to Aaron Boone. So he's another intriguing, possibility. I mean, if they can get Buck Showalter, if he's willing to do it at bench coach, I'd love Buck Showalter. I remember when Larry Bowa was one of the coaches and Don Zimmer, like those guys, old school dudes they were not afraid to be old school, man. And I think Buck Showalter would bring in a nice a nice balance to this analytics country club type thing. So, Chad Green was cool, man. I mean, he was turned right around, threw it right to my wife. It was really cool. It's nice to see when they do that. And but nothing but good things to say about it. And I think he was overused this in the first half of the season. That's why he was gassed in the second half of the offseason. So, but I still think he's a very good relief pitcher. Ron Washington's he's one of these guys that's underappreciated too. A lot of these guys. I like Ron Washington, and I'm glad he got a championship here. I really am. It's Thomas, man. Thank you as always, and good night. I'll be wrapping up in a little bit too. Cliff Johnson, wow. Nice. Cliff Johnson, man, you just brought me back, dude. I love it. Thomas, go get some rest, bro. Thank you, as always. I think the Cardinals will make some moves. I think some low-key free agent moves, and I think maybe a solid trade of some kind. I actually had if Noah Syndergaard rejects a qualifying offer from the Mets, if they give it to him, and he rejects it, I could see him going to St. Louis for a 2 or 3 year deal. I think they need to add to that pitching stable. I think they do. Last game was when Cole got rocked by the Indians before the playoffs. Hard to watch. Jeffrey. No, I get it, man. I totally get it. It sucks when it happens. I went. My mom got me tickets for my birthday, and we brought all my friends, and the Yankees got their asses kicked that day. I think it was might have been 2019. They lost like to the Minnesota Twins, and the Twins hit like 8 home runs against the Yankees, and it was an ass kicking. But um, that's all right. I brought a bunch of my friends that I teach karate with, and and a bunch of my old original gang from college in New York, and it was a great time either way. It was a great time. My wife was there, and my mom was there. It was really cool. Cashman's at presser. They go on more analytics. I see. This is what I don't like. All I mean, this is where I think it's going to be if they double down on analytics and at the it's going to be at the expense of some good experience and good instincts and good baseball. And our analytics staff left a lot to be. I mean, we were ranked 26 out of 30 and leaving guys on base, mainly because our hitters didn't drive guys in, and the other guys were not running good base routes. So how was analytics helpful in that regard? They weren't, in my opinion. So, and I don't like that role. I think they need a combination of analytics and just smart baseball. They need to bring in good baseball people. No. Coney has a new podcast with John Boy. Does he really? I'm going to check that out too. I like Coney, man. Carlos Mendoza. I think, Randy, but if you get Buck, I mean, you can move Mendoza somewhere else. You get Buck. I think he might be the only guy left. Carlos Mendoza. I don't know or maybe the first base coach too. But, yeah, I mean, 4 coaches are out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of analytics. There's certain components of it, yeah, but a lot of it leaves it ignores the human factor, and I don't like that. So, and the fact is, analytics hasn't done the Yankees hasn't done them that good. So, when they're overly reliant on it, unfortunately. Sat with the bleacher creatures of the old stadium, did the roll call. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I was at Game 6 of the World Series in 2009 when they closed the Phillies out with my mom and my wife, and that was the first time that we ever sat at the bleachers, and it was nuts. My wife and some other guy were the only 2 Phillies fans that we knew about in the bleachers. Danny Corner creating a Yankees podcast named Inside the Strike. Oh, that's awesome. Danny, that's awesome. Please keep us posted. I want to know when you start recording and doing stuff. But yeah, the bleachers all eyes was really cool. I mean, that day was nuts when the Yankees clinched and were celebrating. Oh, let me say this first, Bob Tremblay. Thank you very, very much for the dono hype and dono love for Bob Tremblay. Speaking of Cliff Johnson, remember him and Goose Gossage ending up with Gossage having a broken finger and how quickly. Yeah. Gossage can be a dick sometimes too, but he was a great reliever, and he was back in the day when these relievers drew 3 innings. They were bulldogs. Now it's so much more situational. But 100% Bob Tram. I do remember that. I remember that too. But thank you for the dono hype and dono love, man. I appreciate you, bro. I really do. Thank you, sir. But so we were at Game 6, and I don't know if I ever told you this before, but when I was celebrating when the Yankees won, some Yankee fan got in my wife's face, put a camera in her face, and he told us wanted to see what a loser looked like. And that was kind of a dick move. It made me, gave us Yankee fans a bad look. But I turned around and my mom's in this guy's face, and he had another guy friend who turned around, and so I stepped up and then the guy they were trying to kind of intimidate me, and it wasn't really working at the end of the story, but it could have gotten ugly. But I'm glad it didn't. But I'll just remember that's my bleacher story from Yankee Stadium, and I was gonna have to fight 2 guys, unfortunately, if it came down to that. But just it was unfortunate. It gave and I don't blame giving my wife a bad taste at Yankee Stadium, so because that was uncool, very, very uncool. But I could have also stood back and watched my mom fight these guys because she's a pretty feisty one. So, but that's part of what makes her awesome. And good night, James, man. Thank you as always for coming. Christian, yeah, but that's my bleacher story. So not super sexy. It would have been sexier had we done a Jason Bourne situation on them, but it didn't happen. They have the Gestapo there too, so it's just like the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. If something's a fight, they call the Gestapo, the security force, and they come in and then they come in and take people out. So it's the last thing you want to do. You want to be getting in trouble fighting some dummies who are just had nothing better to do with their time. So, but that's what Jimmy Rollins get too for riling up the Yankees fans. He said before the World Series started, and thank you again, Bob Tremblay, that they were going to sweep the Yankees, and if they felt generous, they let them win one game. That's all you need to do to rile up the Yankee fans. Because when we were leaving that stadium, they had coffins with Jimmy Rollins dolls in it on fire. They had street sign. It was crazy. I had to cover my wife so that people wouldn't, go after her. It was ridiculous. It was, thankfully it wasn't, it wasn't an unsafe experience. But they were insane after the game. It was really, really hard to get to the train. Really hard to get to the train, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. Really hoping to see Jason Dominguez towards the end. Randy, I think it's, if he keeps progressing, you never know. I think it's going to be more of a 2023, 2024 situation, but we'll see. We'll see. Bleacher seats for 50 cents. My God. That's nuts. I remember when a slice of pizza was, 50 cents. Now they're like $3 for a slice of freaking pizza. No. Yeah, it's crazy. Got a lot more on this live, I believe. I was up to 95. Yeah, we were over 100, Jeffrey. Over 100 for a little bit too. And so that's awesome. We're at 56 for the thumbs up too. One of these days I want to get the thumbs up to 100, the likes to 100. So Bleachers $1.50. Yeah, man, it's nuts, man. It's crazy how much stuff has gotten more expensive. So you went to game 2 of the 20. Oh, that's the AJ Burnett game, right? When he tied it back up. It was Cliff Lee game 1. And then AJ game 2, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Evan? And AJ tied it up in game 2. Tied it up at 1. Rollins prediction. Yeah. But that's what Rollins did. He likes, he was a talker. He likes to rile people up. And, and it's just didn't know, man. I mean, Phillies fans are crazy, but Yankees fans are at a whole nother level. Whole nother level, man. What I miss about the old stadium was the ballpark lanes directly across. Yeah, all that stuff. There's so much to miss at the old stadium. Oh, so much. Cherry, I'm with you. I think the Yankees do need to offer an extension. If he doesn't take it, you trade him before opening. Yeah, exactly. This is the time to do it. This is where they have leverage. And my personal cutoff is 6 years, $210 million. That's $35 million per year. It'll take him to his age 37. But I know he's going to get more than that, and he's going to get more years than that. I just don't want the Yankees negotiating or outbidding themselves and being giving this guy 260, 270, $300 million. It'd be stupid. Complex mind, Jake Fraley for Jason Dominguez. I don't think we're moving Dominguez anytime soon. All are the same. I wasn't gonna. It wasn't going to. Nothing was going to happen to Ola. Nothing was going to be. That would have been a pretty tough task for them. No, but yeah, thank you for that, Ola. Thank you. Future stars come on. Jeffrey, they need to give these young kids opportunities, man, and an actual path to the majors, and not wait until they're 28 or much older. And at that point, they're either blocked or they're out of options or whatever the hell it is. Like, it's just they need to do a better job at that and not be afraid to be bold and let young kids play. They really have to trust their But that just shows to me, in my opinion, that they don't trust some of their development down below, because otherwise they would keep him up here. Pedro, yep. Pedro versus Burnett for the Phillies, yep. And then game 6 when I was there was Pedro versus Andy Pettitte. So, and Matsui had a bunch of RBIs. I think he had like 5 RBIs in that game too. Randy, he is 7 to 8 years, 25 per. Yeah, I mean 7 at 25 I would do. But my gut's telling me he's going to get more, significant amount. Calvin, why is luxury tax at 210? Well, it's going to go up over the next couple of years, Calvin. And I think it's supposed to be like 218 and 225 or something like that over the next couple of years. But that's something that might change in the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, which does expire December 1st. So I'd be curious to know if the threshold will go up. These guys make obscene money, so it should. Judge wants 283. Yeah, that's my guess too. Judge 280, 320, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. 7 max, 200 mil. I mean, that would be. I'd be okay with that. But this is the thing, Ola. Like you said, like I said, next year, if he starts it after, if this new contract starts in 2023, we will have already had 6 years of his prime. How many more prime years do you think we're gonna get? Maybe 2, and then you're gonna have like 6 or 7 decline years. That's crazy. Even though he's the face of the franchise, he won't be when he's 38. He won't be. So, and that's the thing too, man. Jason Dominguez will be. Volpe will be. Like these guys are gonna take over. They really will. And again, we can't exactly. We don't want to lock up guys way past their prime. If he was 27, I wouldn't have any problem giving him an 8-year deal. But he's not. He's going to be 31 when this thing starts. It's a big difference. So, and he has been. He's a big dude, and he has gotten hurt several times. So that's just it's. I worry about that. 28 mil per. I mean, it is good enough in my opinion, Randy. But unfortunately, like the way these guys are making this money, he's going to get. My guess is he's going to get over 30 a year. But 28 is enough for me too. I mean, yeah. But the Yankees, they don't develop these guys really well. They don't develop their pitching prospects and their catching prospects. Relievers, yes. Position players, yes. But not the rest of them. And I mean, it would be nice if Judge did not leave and he stayed here. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to go where the money is. If the Yankees offer him 210 and somebody offers him 275, he's going to go where 275 is, no matter where it is. So, and that's. I mean, can't blame him for cashing on free agency. Can't blame him. So, traded. The only way I see him being traded is if they offer him an extension and he turns it down. That's the only way I see it. And again, I don't want them to come back and boost their offer by $50 million. Again, they'd be stupid to do that. Bidding against themselves. So, will Brett Garner announce his retirement? I don't think so, Complex Mind. I think he's going to want to exercise that option and figure out a way to play again. But I hope this was his last year. I really do. Oh, same here, Jeffrey. Mets incompetence making them. Yeah, it's kind of sweet. It's kind of sweet. Even though the Yankees, have looked incompetent at times, it's nice to see the Mets doing the same. It really is. Yeah. Contract Nolan got from the Colorado, 8 years, 260. Yeah, but he was also 28 when he got it, something like that. So, and he has an opt out, which I think it's this year maybe, or something like that. I know he has an opt out summer. Cole has an opt out too after 2024. 1964 World Series with Gibson on the mound. Bob Gibson, he'd be a guy I would have loved to have seen play. Tom Tresh hit a 2-out home. Oh my gosh, Mickey Mantle, awesome. Some people, John, want him back for one more year too, as long as he doesn't block anybody else, the young kids. So that's my fear. Cashman on the show and talk to him about Judge. Big dono from everyone. I would love to get Cashman on one day. If he would be even considerate, I would have him on in 5 seconds. I really would. So, yeah. Any of them. Michael K., Meredith Marakovitz. I would love to have any of them on here. Even a different player. Even some, whoever it is, get somebody on here. But don't get me wrong. I'm going to, at some point, try to do that and see if I can get somebody on who'll be willing to talk. So I'm definitely going to do it. Posada, yeah, he was a gamer too, Evan. Posada was a big-time gamer and a great Yankee. Brandon won the World Series. The Yankees won the year after. Exactly. Exactly. But I'm also going to wrap this up. Everybody says it's getting a little bit late, so I want you all to get some rest and have a good night. Yankees not going to let Judge go. I mean, I hope it's not stupid, but I get your logic, Cherry. I see where you're coming from. Andy Stankiewicz. Wow. Kevin Moss. Butch Weiniger. Jay Buhner. Jeffrey, it's funny because I was watching the K video today. I've never called on, but I'm thinking I might actually try to do that call, make a call into the K show and see if I can get on there. And, why not? Why not? Do a live show with him when he's doing that homeless charity and sleeping on the street. That's not a bad idea, Ola. But I'd have to go. Where is it? Bridgeport, Connecticut or somewhere? I'd have to go over there to do it. But that's a fun idea, actually. I like that. K will make every excuse. Yeah, and that's the thing. I would hope he doesn't, but I mean, if I ever got an opportunity to get on, I'd be real about questions and comments. No doubt about it. I'm not going to call to tell people what they want to hear. I'm not going to do that. People get on me all the time for proposing an Aaron Judge trade, but it has to be considered. It has to be considered at the very least. I'll find out for you and where you want to. Oh, if I ever get that opportunity, I'm going to be rocking 161 Mafia swag. You know that. There's no doubt about it. But let me let you guys go and gals. I appreciate you as always, and thank you all for the donos. I appreciate that very, very much. And it is business, Jeffrey. It definitely is. Middle finger, Jack McDowell. I remember that too, and he was getting booed off the mound. Yes, I do. 100%. 100%. But thank you guys as always, and gals. You are the best. Go enjoy your night, and hopefully we'll be around for a little live stream on Saturday. We could chat up some more, and hopefully we'll get some more news by then too. Get some interesting, updates and all that stuff. Richer owners, yeah, that'd be nice. Yes, Jeffrey, I usually do them like Tuesday, Wednesday night, and Saturday night. Saturday night tends to be a good night for so many people. So, but if you're around, love to have you on, Jeffrey. So, 6 years, 210. That's mine, Bob. That's also my number, 35 per year for 6 years. That's my cutoff. But peace, everybody. Enjoy the night. Again, thank you as always. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.